Ready? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, October 30th, 2025 Commission meeting. This is just a public meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and have a roll call.
Commissioner Marquardt.
Here.
Commissioner Matherly.
Here.
Commissioner Brella.
Here.
And can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, tonight we're just having a public hearing, so we're not voting on anything. We're just going to discuss and hear from the public on this. Everybody will have 4 minutes only to speak because we've got a lot of people signed up. So we'll start with whoever's first on the list. Do we have?
No, you need the list.
Yeah, I need the list.
Sylvia's not here, sorry.
Oh. Do we have a list from upstairs too, or just this one?
They're coming down here to sign, so when you call, you just have to wait for them to come downstairs.
Okay. Okay, the first person is Frank Anderson. If you want to come up and, you got 4 minutes.
And please, everybody state your name and into the mic so we can have it on the for record.
My name is Frank Anderson. I live at 5316 Springs Drive up on the mountain. And I just basically know that you're looking at maybe making a change in the use of off-road vehicles on county roads and stuff. And all of my neighbors up in 16 Springs own ATVs and side-by-sides, and we use them for everyday use all around the area. That's the vehicle of choice to go visit a neighbor or take the trash or go get the mail or do anything. And we're on 16 Springs Drive, which is a forest road, but also a county road. And I would just caution you this, in my 73 years of life, one of the things that disappoints me most about the government, both federal, state, and even local, is the fact that when somebody does something stupid, we want to punish the group of people that do it right. And I point out two things to you. We were told when they passed a 7-day waiting period on firearms that it was because people committed suicide. And they were going to stop that. They never showed us how many people had committed suicide with a brand new firearm. They never showed us those statistics. They just infringed on the rest of us to suit their fancy. You look at the Rio Grande Gorge, one of the most beautiful places in New Mexico. People come from all over the country to drive that road and then walk across that beautiful bridge and look down in that gorge. Now they can't because 30 people committed suicide. Government is out of control when it acts that way. Don't fall into that trap. My understanding is that the people didn't have insurance. One of the requirements to drive on the roads, you have to have insurance. There's a remedy for that. Fine the hell out of them. Don't take it out of something away from me to do that. And then I've heard 4 or 5 different stories about what happened and what went on, and I'm glad nobody was injured from what I understand.
They were.
Well, even if they were, you don't punish the group for what happened with one person. You don't do that. There's a remedy for whoever it was that was hit. They could sue. They can do whatever. Don't punish the people of Otero County. I appreciate you giving me the time to speak. Don't fall into that trap, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're just having this public meeting. And I know it was put out on, I think it was Southwest MVD or something, that we were going to make all these changes, and I'm not sure where that came from. This is literally just a public meeting because we had a citizen that came forward at one of our other meetings that had an issue with this, so that's why we're holding this. So we're not really planning on, and we're not doing anything tonight because we're not voting on anything, but this is just to listen. So, I just want to let you know where we're at on this too.
And I agree that it's the same thing with gun control. When somebody does something wrong, we want to take guns away from everybody. Same thing with ATVs. We need to enforce what's already on the books and not punish the rest. So that's my stance too, unless somebody can absolutely convince me of something different.
Okay. The next person is Mike Holberg.
Holbrook?
Holbrook.
Good evening. I'm Mike Holmberg. I just want to echo the gentleman that was just here. I certainly agree with him. And a thought came to me when I read about this meeting and what it was about was the same logic could be used if somebody in a pickup truck got in an accident and didn't have insurance, and then all of a sudden, all the pickup trucks can't drive on the road. It doesn't make any there's no common sense in, as the gentleman said, punishing the whole group when we already have procedures in place. You know, if you don't have insurance, that's your problem and not ours. You know, so that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Lear.
Good evening. My name is Joe Lair. I have a home at 77 Black Forest Drive outside of Cloudcroft. We bought that in 2022. Side by side was the perfect vehicle to clean up, keep things in order around the cabin. The winch in the front, if a tree goes down, things of those, magnificent. And my wife fell in love with the fact that we could drive through the forest, take pictures, especially in the fall, in that for entertainment. I'm an old dirt biker at that point. Side by side was a little different. I'm on two wheels most of the time in that, but I've also enjoyed it. We bought it new in 2022 from Rocky Mountain Supply, just under $28,000. I've just spent $25,000 getting all the street legal, horn, lights, turn signals, mirrors, everything else on it, and have my paved road plate on it. And depending on the decision you guys make at this point, we have a summer house in Las Cruces. That side by side and my business may move to Las Cruces on that. So there's a financial impact to the decision. I don't like the accident. I've been in accidents plenty. As I said, as an old dirt biker, you fall down regularly on that. But again, I agree with the others about punishing someone. I have insurance. Everything is legal on the vehicle. And I know if I go to Donna Ana, I can drive it around almost anywhere around Las Cruces. If you limit that here, I don't need it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ralph Baker.
Afternoon. My name's Ralph Baker. I'm gonna bring a little perspective on this. I'm retired state police. I used to enforce these laws up on the mountain pretty hard. Yeah, I got in trouble for it. But you know what? When you pick somebody up off the highway that's been hit with a truck and a four-wheeler, it's not fun. I hate to go tell people that somebody died because they were acting stupid. As the law is written right now, it is authorized on county roads. You cannot operate on a U.S. federal highway such as 82, 5470, 6563, which is a state road, 244, which is a state road. No state roads you can operate those on. Out here on White Sands, that is 5470. It is not authorized. So many people do this and violate the laws. You can have all the laws you want unless you have enforcement and you hold people accountable for their actions, it don't matter. I don't know how many times I've gone to court for a ticket that's a $350 ticket for riding on 82, and then they say, oh, well, I'm gonna suspend all but $50 of it and give you 90 days and this ticket will go away, slap you on the hand. What happens? They do it again. I guarantee you there's people out here, I've given them 6, 7 tickets for the same thing. It's like clockwork. People out here get pissy and moany because I enforce the law. I don't care. Like I said, I'd rather go tell somebody you got a ticket than go tell somebody you died. That's the way it is. If you're gonna do this, the ordinance that you're wanting to adopt, to me, is okay. Personally, I don't think they belong on a highway at all, personally, especially if that highway has a speed limit over 50 miles an hour, because they're not built for that. Yeah, they can go that fast, but are they safe at that speed? No, they're not. But as it is, until you get somebody that's going to enforce the law and have these attorneys and these judges stick to it and quit making deals, nothing's going to change. Been that way ever since I was a cop. Still that way today. That's all there is to it. Don't drive on the highways that are owned by the state. Don't drive on the highways that are U.S. federal highways. You can cross it, but don't drive on it. That's the law. If you don't accept it, that's your problem. Don't punish everybody else. I drive mine. Mine's licensed, mine's insured, everything. I drive mine. We take it to the dump, we take it to Lawless Market, whatever. I've lived here all my life. I've never seen anything like this, ever. It's just gotten out of hand. And until we get people to enforce the law and quit making deals, it's never gonna change. That's the way I feel about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis Guerrera?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Dennis Guerra. This whole thing about the county trying to stop us from going on county roads. Well, our governor gave us little stickers that says off and off roads and license plates, okay? I was raised in these mountains just like all these people. Up in the mountains with our horses, up in the mountains with our bikes, our campers, our UTVs. We've seen a lot of people from Texas trying to destroy our forests. There's been times when me and our friends would go up there. Every time we stop, there's my wife, picking up trash from BLM, picking up trash, putting out fires. And that happens a lot, but we take care of our forests because that's our forest. Those county roads that we pay for, comes out of our taxes, we pay for them to be maintained and all that. And it's like going across from Carr Canyon across to Benson Ridge. You got to cross that Sacramento Road. They give you a ticket, $242. And all we're doing is trying to cross. So I believe it's not right to punish us that live here, that have been in the mountains all their lives, to punish us for something that happened, and I'm glad nobody got hurt. But I've been hit by a vehicle before or rear-ended, no insurance. So here I am paying it myself. So it's not a thing that's happening. It's been going since the 70s. That's a normal thing. And I'd hate to see our county roads, our BLM roads, to be taken away from us. It's not right, you know. It's like little Johnny chewing gum and everybody gets in trouble in the whole class. It can't happen. So we might as well give back our license plates, our little stickers that say we can drive on the roads and then on the dirt. You know we can't drive on the main highways. I don't want to drive on the main highway, man. There's crazy non-insured people out there. You know, they might hit me. You know, so we know we can't ride on them. But we're here to take care of what we have here in Otero County. And you believe it or not, there's tons of us that go up there and, you know, we just pick up trash and We do our job, we try to help the county and the BLM, okay? We've been doing it all our lives, and even when we were all on horses, you see people come back with trash and stuff, so. I believe, this whole county thing is blown out of water. It's just asinine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Reinhardt Sherman?
My name's Reinhard Sherman. I live at 202 Pahuska in Tiburon, New Mexico. For those people that just said that I'm, I guess, asshole, he said I was asinine for bringing this up. What I'm doing is not trying to get everybody's favorite thing gotten rid of. What I'm trying to do is make the county of Otero and the state of New Mexico obey their own laws. And if they're not willing to obey those laws, if we're not willing to enforce those laws, we need to do away with the law. It's as simple as that. So here's the facts. There's new damage in the mountains every day. I've been up there twice in the last 2 weeks. All the area that was destroyed on July 26th, fresh tracks. They're not from buggies, they're not from dirt bikes, they're from buggies. That, according to state law and our county laws, anything over 1,000 cc's is already illegal. Anything over 80 inches wide is already illegal. Anything over 1,750 pounds is illegal, including the Can-Am Maverick that put my girlfriend in the hospital. So why are these things being licensed in our county when they're illegal? This must immediately stop. Anything that doesn't fit into the range must immediately stop. They are allowed to license, I called every DMV in our county, and every one of them allows them to be registered without proof of liability insurance, which the one that hit us did not have. Further illegal, anything over, these things are not allowed to drive 10 miles per hour, over 10 miles per hour when they're within 200 feet of animals, pedestrians, or houses. We all know that's not followed. They're not allowed to drive within within 200 yards of a residence between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. So all of you out there that are saying you don't break the law, tell me you haven't driven your buggy after 8 p.m.
Every day, every day.
Then you're breaking the law.
Yeah, I just told you, I break it every day.
Thank you.
But I am an honest man.
And
But I
that's,
go by what's allowed, and that's the problem here.
and we've got to quit allowing it. We've got to follow our own laws. They also say that lights cannot project more than 75 feet from the front of the vehicle, and that flashing lights are prohibited. Hundreds of them passed us before the accident that had strobe lights on them, blinding us. I think these things are put on at the dealership. That,
I did that in my driveway.
Auxiliary lights must be turned off 500 feet before you approach another vehicle. I've never seen anyone follow that law. If you allow your insurance to lapse, even though they haven't required it, if you get pulled over and you don't have insurance and you haven't within 30 days, your registration is supposed to be revoked on the spot. That does not happen. The law says you need to stay as far right as possible on any public roads and cannot pass. That does not happen. Minors must be visually supervised, visually, as in if they're riding one of these things, someone must be watching them the whole time they're riding it if they're under 21. That doesn't happen. There is no endorsements on our driver's license that allows us to drive these things. I have one for motorcycle. How come there isn't one for a buggy? That, to further complicate the problem, HB 372, which got as far as through the House this year and halfway through the Senate, would allow these larger OHVs in our state. So when does the size stop? Are we going to allow truck-sized vehicles on our roads illegally? Because every one of these things state right in their paperwork and on the vehicle and on the tire that they are not made for roads.
Okay, thank
We are
you.
allowing it as an exception.
Thank you.
And yet all these laws are being broken.
Your time's up. I'm sorry I can't let you go longer because everybody else got 3 minutes.
I'm just saying it's a travesty that,
So
wait
you're
until
doing
your
4
girlfriend
minutes,
gets,
But you want to go over and you want to talk about us breaking laws. There's the rule, 4 minutes, you're done, sit down. Everybody gets 4 minutes.
We're gonna have a fist fight in a minute.
You want to preach about following the rules, do it yourself.
Okay, Rebecca Turner's next.
You got somebody that wants to.
Could I get just a clarification as to what you were driving?
I'm sorry, what?
What were you driving?
A Jeep.
Hell, that's just a
They hit me at 50 miles an hour head on. And they put her in
I'll
the
relinquish the time he went over from mine, that's fine. My name is Rebecca Turner, I live at 202.
Hang on just a
Okay.
minute. All
Wait a
right.
minute.
Everybody just chill for a minute. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Turner.
I live at 202 Pawhuska Drive in Tiburon, New Mexico as well. I was there on July 26th. There were over 1,000 people. We were passed by waves and waves. I think something too is that one reason we wanted to get out is because they were firing weapons also outside their vehicle. We hunt, we spend a lot of time in the forest. Nobody's trying to take away anybody's right to drive a buggy or a side-by-side. Just enforce the law. I was hit head on. My head went through the windshield. There we are in the forest. How am I gonna get out? The people that hit us, she's bleeding profusely, right? So we get out, they're trying to fly me out somewhere, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This has gotten out of control really fast. They're starting to argue, all we wanted to do was exchange insurance. And it went downhill from there. That's it. We just want to enforce the law. If you're as big as a vehicle, register it. Get insurance. That's it. That's it. We're full of a community of people who drive side-by-sides, quads. It doesn't, we don't care. Just if you're going to be out driving, be responsible. Just enforce the law. That's it. That's it. If I wasn't wearing the hat I was wearing, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'm licensed to diagnose and treat in 2 states, and I had to be out of work for a while. I was very scared that I wasn't going to be able to return to work because of the head injury I got. And so, yeah, somebody was hurt that day. Myself and a lot of people I see in my practice. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Moon,
I think he's upstairs.
is he upstairs?
He's upstairs.
Okay. They can hear us up there?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Do we have any more people signed up? Or was this the only sheet?
Corey's upstairs too, check up there, make sure they can do
Oh,
it.
thank you.
Or if they're waiting for their name.
They can hear, I know that.
Might call Corey too, since he's up there.
He's coming. Is it Corey Gorby? Is that?
Yeah, Corey
okay.
Corby.
Have a seat. State your name, please.
I'd first like to, first of all, 28 years of law enforcement here in this county.
Excuse me, Mr. Moon, could you speak
Can't hear
into
you, use
the
the
mic?
microphone.
Oh, 28 years of law enforcement in this county, and I am truly sorry for what happened to your family. Truly. And I wrote plenty of those tickets. I carried plenty of people out of cars, because when I first started law enforcement in this county, I was an EMS, fire, and police, so I was with the APD. I'm sorry for what happened to you and your family and what you had to go through. Earnestly, I want you to know that. The only reason I felt like I had to speak it, first of all, I want to say hi to all them folks upstairs.
Yeah.
Because there's a crew up there.
I know.
Yeah, they're banging their feet. I really appreciate the elected officials here today that give us the opportunity to come. I've got 2 bad knees, both of them replaced, and I use my ATV, I call it my wheelchair. I got the Razor and the Ranger both. I can carry, my wife loves to use the Razor, or the Ranger, because we can carry our friends, the Altons, with us. And I've seen plenty of these folks up the mountain too. And it's truly unfortunate that our forest ends up the way it does from out-of-towners, and we have to suffer it through the federal laws. And that's being held up by state and local officials. I appreciate that though, but because I love my community. And I love my forest too. We've picked up tents, trash, whole sites, and carried stuff out of there. Mr. Guerra, I appreciate you also. I think we have some level-headed elected officials here today. And I've listened to a few of you talk while I was up there, and I appreciate you. I want you to use your level-headedness. You were put in those seats for that reason. And some of you came to me for your votes, and I voted, right? All these folks probably here had a vote. So, thank you for the opportunity, but don't let those folks, let's start to enforce it. I agree. Let's get our law enforcement in there a little bit. I know the feds are sitting back right now. It's even worse right now because of this business with the people not getting paid, you know? That's tough up there. It's even worse up there right now because there's nobody to enforce it. It was even thinner up there in days gone by. I can't imagine the times I was sitting on that Sunspot Highway in my truck getting passed by ATVs. And yet, there's just nobody, you know, I'd even make a call and it's just too late for that, right? Or Jeeps, full-size vehicles up in the forest. And hey, you know, you're supposed to be at least 50 inches or less. They don't care. They just keep driving. We have to get some enforcement. There's evidence of that. A whole community in California brought to the brink of criminal activity. And what they do, they hired a traffic division and they shut it down. They shut it down. Listen to these folks is all I ask you to do, and I appreciate what you do, so thank you.
Thank you. Corey Gorby.
How are y'all this evening? I'm a lifetime resident here in Otero County. Grew up in the mountains and everything. The way I see it, we're all at fault. Jeeps, pickups, side-by-sides and everything. What I don't understand is, I worked a couple years in Colorado, and we decided, hey, let's take our side-by-side, one of my buddies, and ride up there. Well, one of the responsibilities is to buy a permit. A permit, you have to show registration, insurance, and that you're abiding by the law. Do we do that? Not that I know of.
Not down here.
Not down here. So why don't we mash on our Forest Service, and I hate to pick on the SO, but mash on them. Let's start make them buy permits. Make them be accountable. If you don't have your insurance, registration, and your buggy's not to go, you don't get a permit. And make that permit stout. And take that money off them permits and put it back, split it between Forest Service and SO so they can patrol that country more, enforce it. There's solutions to everything. There's no reason to point fingers. You need to find solutions and not point fingers. The young lady got hit, I'm sorry. But evidently her head hit the windshield. Evidently she'd have her seatbelt on her. She wouldn't hit her head on the windshield.
She had her seatbelt on.
So that's my opinion. But I think there's more solutions than penalizing everybody in the county. There's ranchers, hunters, everybody that uses these vehicles from day-to-day use, especially the ranchers and the hunters. Right now, all the hunts are going on. That's primary transport of hunting. That's how we, teach our kids how to hunt. Take care of the forest, be stewards of the land. Pick up what you take in, take out. Chase, get on the Forest Service, whoever, or the county, say, hey, you gotta have a permit to ride up here. That's revenue the county's throwing away. and put some responsibility back on our government. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just mention about, as far as using these for hunting, right now it's illegal. Because it is. If you start hunting before 8 o'clock in the morning, you can't drive them next to a residence unless you're hauling it out of the forest. If you drive by one house before 8 o'clock.
Our next person is Dusty Woods.
If you're hunting around the house, you shouldn't be hunting there anyhow. Go hunt where you're supposed to hunt out.
So what about the people that leave from town?
All right, we're going to move on.
If you want to have a conversation, go outside. We're going to have
Take-
order.
Take it outside if you want to go, because we've got more people. Dusty Wood.
He was in the hallway.
Want me to go on and go to Dusty next if he comes in? I don't know.
He was in the hallway.
We have to let everybody talk first, and then we'll see if we've got time. I know.
Is Eric in here? Is Eric in here? I saw him come in.
Okay, we'll move on to Eric Johnson, and then if Dusty comes, we'll let him go next. Is Eric Johnson in here? He's upstairs too.
Hear him running?
I love it. Dusty's not here? Okay.
I heard Eric running.
Okay, good. We were sliding down that stair rail.
We heard you coming.
Give us some time coming down the stairs.
I know. It's a trip.
Eric Johnson, a lifelong resident of Alamogordo. I've had ATVs and UTVs all my life. Always take care of them, do the responsibility of licensing and insurance, 5-point hitch or 5-point connection for my seatbelt, and just be responsible. Do what you're supposed to do on the road, and and I agree with Corey on the permits. If they're from out of state and they want to ride with us, they need to buy the permits. I've ridden in many states that Utah, Idaho, Colorado, you had to buy a permit to ride in the state. And that's something we should enforce here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Judy Ann Medeiros?
She's upstairs too.
Okay.
Out of breath.
Sorry,
From
that's a hike.
upstairs. Judy Ann Medeiros. I've lived in Alamogordo most of my life. And OHVs to me are kind of a new thing, but they have been around. And they, there's good and bad. As we've heard today, there's good and bad ideas related to using the OHVs. But it depends on the purpose that they're used for. People that use the roads responsibly, that's good, but a lot of people, especially recreationists, they tend to go off the road. They're on the county roads, but they veer off it and cause a lot of erosion, damage to the forage, the plants, everything that is good quality related to the mountains, or even down here on the south of town. There's a problem related to that. But on the county roads, it's usually pretty much okay, but they don't stay there, and that's a problem. So I would like you to consider extending the concern related to going off of the county roads and keep them on the county roads instead. Also, enforcement is rare. We have found that to be so. In fact, when we've even called to get help, people don't come. So enforcement is a real big problem related to the OHV use and using them responsibly, particularly up in the mountains where we encounter a lot of people up there on the OHVs. Let's see. And then we find that we're just really concerned about how they're being used up there. But county roads, okay, but nowhere else.
Can I ask you, who are you calling for?
I believe it was, who was it? The Forest
Forest Service?
The officer for the Forest Service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Douglas?
He's upstairs.
Oh, man. I know he's listening.
I work for Judy, and I called LEOs till I was tired of calling them. Called county sheriffs till I was tired of calling them, and couldn't get anybody to go up there. Game and Fish was also called. On July 26th.
On her situation?
The group was camped on the corner of our forest permit and destroyed a lot of country. So, yeah. All three law enforcement agencies that could have done something were notified, didn't offer to do anything.
Did he want to speak or he
Here.
just wanted to go? I talked to him. Just Mark Douglas.
Mark said, tell them I passed, thought it was just a sign-in sheet.
Oh, okay.
He knows better.
He's been here before.
He knows better.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Mark was the last one on the list. I thought we were going to have a ton more than that, so. I mean, the only comment I'll make on it is that, I mean, I don't know how the rumor got started that we were going to do away with OHVs, because I don't think that was ever in any of our discussion. I mean, we were willing to look at our ordinance, make sure it lines up with state law. I think it's probably a good idea if we do some type of out-of-state permits. I don't know how that works.
There already are.
But just to maybe start enforcing those so that when we have these huge caravans coming up there, so it's $48 for a 2-year and $18 for 90 days, so that's not much. But that's the state, that's not us, right?
Right.
So Jason, I'm not putting you on the spot, but could I ask you a couple of questions?
Sure. I assume you want me to walk up?
Yeah.
So how many law enforcement officers does the Forest Service have for up here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Jason Freeman. I work for the Forest Service. So we now have 2 as of September 30th of this year. We had 1 up until then, in the past 2-year time span.
So so I can get all this wrapped around my head. So when a big group like the one that this is basically talking about, do they have to get a permit to come up and ride, or can they just come up, unload, and just go ride? So what's the process on that?
So if it's a large group, they would have to get a group use permit, and the event that occurred in July did not have one, and it should have. They were cited for that because it was a violation of our special uses regulations or rules because of the number of people that participated. If you and a couple friends went up, you would not need a permit from us because it's just casual recreational use. It's when it becomes a large group that we would permit it.
What's considered a large group?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there. I want to say it's 30-ish people,
Wow.
but don't quote me exactly because
And if it's an organized event?
if it's an organized.
So it's gotta be a large group and an organized event, or one or the other?
Well, if you're a large group hanging out together, you're kind of organized, aren't you?
We are never organized. Organized is not what we are.
Okay. It's based on a number of people for us.
I actually looked for that group use permit today and I couldn't find where they get that. Where, do they do it on the forest website?
They would call the office and would work with our recreation staff to get a permit. It's under our recreation permitting efforts, so they could call either of the district offices or the main office.
And is the penalty for that pretty healthy if they don't do that?
I don't know the dollar amount of the penalty, so I don't want to give you misinformation there. I do know that when there's a violation of it, we will cite it, and there can be progressive consequences based on if there's damage beyond just violating the permit requirement.
So I found state violations and the expenses, but I didn't find for the forest department expenses for violation.
Under what
Is it the
expenses?
same? So list of penalty assessments, that was effective July of 2024.
I'm not familiar with that.
But I
so
didn't,
wouldn't-
I didn't see anything about a group permit under violations.
What's that from?
It's from the state.
Yeah.
So
So
not really a group permit, every individual that drives a OHV up in the Forest Service or in the state of New Mexico is required to stop and get a permit individually, not as a group.
they are, but
If
that's.
they're gonna use an area, that's a group thing.
They're required, the OHVs are required to be permitted through Department of Game and Fish.
Correct.
That is a state permit.
Correct.
Relative to the Forest Service, we would
Yeah.
not permit OHV use unless it becomes a group use event.
Correct. But
If
each
it's just
individual-
casual use, such as
but
many of
Each
you,
individual that operates an OHV is required to get a permit.
not from us though.
No, but from the
Right.
state.
Right, and I'm only speaking to Forest Service. I don't work for the state,
Yeah.
so I
See,
can't
there's
speak
so
to
much
their
confusion.
regulations.
You know how many times I saw a deputy pull over a four-wheeler on 65, 63 road or 82? My whole time, my whole career? None.
So when I was digging around today, I was told that there was a forest district manager out of Silver City 2 years ago that offered to pay our deputies overtime pay on their own time to patrol
Okay.
on their behalf. Do you know if that's still available or anything?
We do have an agreement that's renewed annually with the Sheriff's Office and Game and Fish relative to OHV patrols and continue to share monies between different agencies to assist in that.
So that is going on right now.
There is an agreement that's helping cover extended patrols relative OHVs between the three agencies.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's easy money there, I'll tell you.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm gonna leave that to them.
Can I ask you a question of the officer?
Sure.
If our county and our state enforced the insurance law, that it had to be tied to their registration, and the registration was proved by a license plate on the vehicle, whether it's in-state or not, so that every single buggy in the forest had a license plate on it, would it make your job so much easier? Rather than the little sticker on the side so that you can read them as you follow them?
Well, they do.
So I'm not a law enforcement officer.
They don't force it.
Um,
I know they won't enforce it, that's the whole problem.
I would say, I'm not a law enforcement officer, so I can't speak to what would make their lives easier
But
I
you
knew-
can pull over vehicles, right?
I can't, no. I'm not,
Oh, I
I'm not a law
misunderstood. I
enforcement officer.
misunderstood.
Go ahead, sir.
We just bought a brand new buggy, and before we left the dealership, we had to have proof of insurance, we had a registration, and we had a title. Same thing as it'd be on any vehicle. Just for my own information, how many people in here own ATVs? How many people have ATVs that are insured? The problem's not local. The problem's groups that come in. Everybody in here wants to do things right. Everybody in here does not want to see anybody injured. But we want to have the right to ride and enjoy the beautiful forest that we live in.
I think
You
the
can't
county's
stop.
wanting to do away with it, they want to adopt the ordinance.
You can't
to allow-
stop.
To allow
You can't even stop the people that come in here to hunt and do some of the trashy things they do. It's all what we're willing to do in our own heart to protect and take care of our forest, take care of our country that we live in, that we call home. It's just that simple. You're not gonna find anybody here that's breaking the law as far as the insurance and the stuff on the buggy. That's just the way it is. Thank you.
If I could state, I called every MVD in the county of Otero. Not one of them requires proof of insurance. That's a fact.
Well, they don't require it if you're just getting your title and registration. I mean, they do not require it, but if you want to drive on any paved road, they have to prove, before you can get an on-road sticker, that you have.
I called every one of them, and they said the opposite.
Okay, let me tell you this about the dealerships, okay? New Mexico state law says you cannot operate an off-highway vehicle on any state or federal road, period.
So he can go.
Period, no exceptions. Right. No dealer around this state will tell you that.
I'm sorry,
You're
I hate to tell you
exactly
that.
correct.
We tell our dealer, we tell the people we sell them to, every one,
Well,
if they wanna go get,
Well, yeah,
if they want to
you're the
go
only
get
one
their
that's doing
unit.
it, though. You're the only one.
I think we're through with you, I
Whenever
think.
went and bought mine
Thank you,
Jason.
months ago,
Thank you.
Go ahead, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
they didn't tell him
They
that.
had top insurance.
Yeah, come up here so we can
You're
hear
a
you.
Rocky Mountain Supply.
And they came from
You're the
out
only
of
one that complies with it.
State your name, too.
If you remember, I brought you a bunch of papers.
I'm Clint Bergstaller. I'm 6 years ago, I escaped from California. And, well, I say it that way so y'all know I'm not one of them that come here and try and vote the same way and get.
Could you guys please hold it down?
But what I'm seeing here and the rumors and everything like that, it's a slippery slope we're on right now. Where my mom lived most of my life was Trinity County. That's in northern California. I called it the sticks with the hicks, because that's all that was out there. And when we were kids, we used to go all over the wilderness, all over. Now we call it the land of locked gates. Forest Service, BLM, and Sierra Pacific and Forestry have all locked the doors because of the few that go up there and ruin it. Now, the trickle-down effect, you can argue and everything, but yeah, when kids can't jump on their dirt bike and go riding like they were raised and shown how to do, they do other things. I can attest to that. I've been on both sides of the law. My kids saved me, and now I'm on the right side. But it's a slippery slope, and I'm not saying that, what happened is excusable. It's not excusable. Anybody getting injured on that, and if you don't have insurance, yeah, you're an idiot. But there is a way to fix that. You can take the person to court. But the idea of blaming everybody. I'm a truck driver. I know what blame. I got over 3 million miles driven, no accidents, but yet I still got to fall under these harsh regulations because we got people out there doing stupid stuff. So I know what it means to be blamed for the few. And I've seen what happens to communities when it's blamed for the few. And this other slippery slope we're on is that we have laws here, and it sounds like they're not being enforced. I've seen cities where laws don't get enforced, and what happens to those cities? I lived in those cities, in Vallejo, California, one of the worst cities in the United States for cops not being there or being corrupt. And, you know, I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think we need to make new laws. I don't think we need to, you know, just throw an umbrella over it and blame everybody. The laws that are in place, we already pay the taxes and all that, they need to be enforced. And when they're enforced, things will clean up. Yeah, there's always gonna be people trying to push the limit or break the law, but, you know, I did it, I paid the price. You know, if you're not willing to pay the price, don't do the crime, like they say, you know, and yeah, it sucks, but I just see, sitting back there and listening to it, I see what I saw as a kid happen. And it's not only is, yeah, it's gonna hurt us because we all like to do it right now, but it's gonna hurt our kids and our grandkids, you know, that are getting to start to do it, and now they can't do it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
RB, and I'm trying to, I think it was our animal control ordinance when we updated it. We had to make it so that it was enforceable. Is there anything in our current ordinance that makes it non-enforceable?
It's enforceable. I mean, the challenge with this is you can't just stop people because you feel like it. You gotta have reasonable suspicion. And so that is a limitation. And then as far as the forest, it's huge. Hundreds of thousands of acres, and you got two Forest Service law enforcement officers trying to cover it, and our deputies are trying to cover that as well, and game and fish, and can't be everywhere at once. And then again, like even if you see it, you gotta see it, have suspicion of a crime before you can just pull someone over and check for their insurance.
Can you pull them over because you can't see their sticker or their plate?
You could, possibly.
I think this is very reasonable, and I didn't see anything that I thought needed to be changed.
There are some gaps that need fixed at the state level. One of those is the machines now exceed what is authorized by the law. Like they're bigger and way more, and so that needs updated. There's a what's it called? A off-highway motor vehicle advisory board that is under Game and Fish, and they're supposed to meet at least twice annually, but I haven't seen anything since 2021 that has occurred. So that needs to get going again. It looks like it's one of those things that fell off with COVID and is still broken, and that's not okay. That board should be hearing concerns like this, looking at these accidents, and then developing policy and briefing the legislature on changes that need to be made. At the county level, we have a limited amount that we're able to change or authorize, and we have our lane. And within our lane, we've authorized the use on county roads and non-state roads, and under the parameters that the state has allowed us to set. And beyond that, there's not too much we can do.
So right now, the ordinance that we currently have, I think it's 2205, it aligns with state law currently. Current state law needs to be updated to increase the size of the vehicles and stuff, and then we would need to update our ordinance to align with state law again, correct? That's the only thing that I saw that was different. So it's not like we're making a new ordinance or changing anything, it's basically updating what we've got.
And we updated it in 2022 because I think it had originally been passed in 2018 or something when the first laws came into effect, and we updated it to make sure it was in alignment and covered everything, because at the same time we were looking at getting authorization from the state for some of the state highways, sections of the state highways to authorize them on it. Because it made sense for tourism and hunting and recreation. But that was denied based on safety concerns.
You want to read this letter?
Yes, sir.
Do I need-
Yeah, come up here and say your name.
You know the rules.
Matt Nix. I just wanted to get back on the Forest Service just real quick. First of all, I believe New Mexico is a reciprocating state as far as if they have the licenses and stuff and registered correctly in another state, they can come and ride, like say the Forest Service. When we go to Colorado every year, we have to stop and get a $25 permit to ride in their state. And if you get caught without it, it's a $150 fine. Now, I know the Forest Service is hurting for law enforcement, but if we can change up some of the rules where all of this other stuff's coming from and make them get a permit through the Forest Service, which that's where we get ours from when we go up there, that it would increase revenue, maybe help with some law enforcement for them.
And Matt, that is true to a point. It's not just the Forest Service, it's also the state BLM. If you come into the state, no matter where you're riding at, you're supposed to, get that. It's not just the forest.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I'm talking just strictly with forest.
Yeah.
Now, as far as BLM, state land and that kind of stuff, I don't know if you'd have to get a state permit or what, but I think we're missing the boat on all these people coming from out of state and not paying to help keep things
Well, I agree with you
where
on
they
that.
need to be.
Matt, it is on the books. If they're a non-resident, they're supposed to get a permit, and it's through Game and Fish. If they're off-road, they're not required to have insurance under that.
Correct.
But if they are on roads, then they are required to have insurance.
And where would they purchase these from?
I believe it's Game and Fish.
And that would be Las Cruces, Roswell?
You can purchase it
You might be able
online.
to get on their website.
Yeah.
But like I said, they're not keeping enough attention on this.
So it's for out-of-state residents, a 2-year permit is $48 or a one-time permit is $18. And for local,
How many of those people that tore up the property had any permit of any kind?
and for those of us that live in New Mexico, it's $53 and then $50 renewal. And that's annual, not even twice. But the penalty for failure to possess registration, whether you're a resident or non-resident, is $10. So, I just want to.
Do we see the problem now?
That's right, that's right. But this is state, this is not county.
I'd like to ask the attorney a question about enforceability.
Oh,
When it comes down to
I'll get you next, I'm sorry.
insurance in the state.
Can you ask it through the mic, please?
Okay. I'll step up to the mic. When it comes down to insurance in the state, everybody in this room says they've got it. That, I looked up statistics that tens of thousands of notices are sent out to people that let their insurance drop, that they must turn their license plate back into the state within 30 days of dropping their insurance. A lot of people have been cited for that. I could pull up statistics on that. As far as OHVs, even though they're required to have insurance, I could not find that one single person has had their registration revoked for lack of insurance, ever. Why is that? And why are we allowing that?
I'm gonna be taking a guess here, and I think it is a trigger issue of getting that looked at. Like, there's not, the state, when you register these at the DMV, they're not requiring insurance, whereas they would on a vehicle. I think the reason that the majority of folks do have insurance is a finance requirement rather than anything that the state's requiring, like, you know, if you
But the
buy it
state
outright-
requires it.
Well, they do require it, but like, what's the
There's
mechanism?
no teeth.
There's no mechanism for the verification.
So wouldn't it be simple to go to the state and say, if you will not start enforcing this like you do for every other vehicle in the state, I'm not saying extra enforcement, enforce it exactly the same as any other vehicle. You have insurance when you walk into the DMV, and if you drop it for any reason, you lose your registration. That's easy. We could call the state and they could have that done tomorrow. Why can't they? It's
Good
already
luck.
law.
Good luck with
All they
that.
have to do is require it of the DMV, and
I don't
then
know what state is.
when the DMV sees that somebody's dropped their insurance, like they do for every other, the millions of cars in the state. It's not a complicated process. All we have to do is have the OHVs go into the same system. It could be done tomorrow. And I've asked people that worked at the DMV, and they've said it could be done tomorrow. All we have to do as a county is to ask.
Sir, nothing at the DMV happens fast.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, nothing at the DMV happens fast.
That's right.
But we can ask the
That is what I
state.
say.
We
What I say
can,
every
and
time
nothing
I'm
at the
here.
state happens fast.
But wouldn't that be a good idea to ask the state to do that?
It would be, and that is what I
So-
mean when there are gaps at the state level that need
That's the
addressed.
reason I'm here today.
That's
Is to
reasonable.
ask you as the commission to tell the state we want that done.
We can do that.
I'm not trying to get rid of the buggies. I just want the same rules for the buggies as for cars. The same enforcement, no more, no less. That's what I came here to ask.
That's reasonable, and, you know, we can send a letter. This might be a area where the executive branch and whatever the DMV falls under can set rules and within the existing statutory framework and update that. That will be faster than if the legislation needs to get
And
changed.
I don't think we need to go there. I think we go through rules and regulations.
Did you still
And
want to say something?
It's an
Okay.
easy thing. In a way, it would
Just a minute,
simplify
he had his hand up
our
first back
DMV
there.
process.
And we can send a letter to the DMV, whatever the agency it is.
All
to
of this
ask that.
started just so I can ask that question.
And we can also send it to this OHV advisory committee that's supposed to be meeting. That's reasonable, that's easy.
But, you know, if you want to give me the information, I'll call them about it too. But I'm personally asking the Otero County Commission to request that. To request that the insurance and registration is handled just like a car. And it's simple and the process is there.
People that have cars don't have insurance on them.
That's-
But they
that
get
is
their
the truth.
registration
That is true.
revoked then.
No, they don't.
Yep.
You want to come up?
No, there's a lot of people. The laws aren't being carried out from the prosecutors and the judges. That's where it ends, right there.
Okay, if you'll state your name, please.
Hi, I'm Vincent Cedillo. I'm with Rocky Mountain Supply. Everything that everybody's talking about is actually enforced at some level. If a customer comes in and they pay cash for a unit, they can register it on their own. If it's financed, we have to process it. So we would assess the $56 registration fee, we would collect the 4% in taxes, and as a dealer that sells off-road vehicles, we cannot register that unit to be on pavement. The customer has to do that on their own. So that's one of the things, it falls on the customer, and then you have two different kind of buyers. You have ranchers that are not required to do anything because the unit lives its life on property. So if you start assessing this kind of stuff, you're gonna get flack from the ranchers who have anywhere between 5 and 50 units that they're gonna have to pay for license and registration, and that vehicle's not leaving their property. So as far as I know, any out-of-stater coming in here has to go by Game and Fish and get a permit. I don't know about the size, but I know that it's required, and it's like $5 or $10. There's another thing that's in play where you have like your blinker kits and your horn kits. We can't, and I might have to ask Larry how because we have a disclaimer saying that this is not made for on-road use. We are installing this for your comfort and your safety. Is that the
It's
best
still
way?
illegal.
Well,
It's
yeah.
not illegal.
Well, it's, well, like you said, I mean, for us to do that, so you brought up about
telling people.
Hey, Larry, if
Can
you're
you
gonna
come up?
answer, do it
Yeah.
in the mic. We should just start passing the mic around.
Yeah. Because the people at home can't hear you, so.
Yeah, people
they'll be-
here and
they'll be-
upstairs.
yeah.
So my name's Larry Brown, and I'm one of the owners at Rocky Mountain. So, it's difficult. So there is a lot of explaining that has to be done when somebody comes in to buy a unit, depending upon how they're gonna use it. So, we sell off-road vehicles, and it's my understanding as far as the state of New Mexico is concerned, I mean, there's not an insurance requirement for somebody to buy a unit for riding off the paved road. But if they want to make their unit street legal or paved road legal, they have to go to motor vehicle, show proof of insurance, and so that they can get the sticker from motor vehicle that their unit is insured, just like a car or anything else. So they have to have insurance for on-road, but it's not the case for off-road. So the different requirements, Vincent talked a little bit about turn signals and stuff, and not everybody, the state of New Mexico, when they set this ruling, they allowed every municipality to, the state gave basic laws or basic rules that they could follow, but some municipalities said, well, we don't like this one and we don't like that. So if you go from here on an ATV and try and you have it licensed for on-road in Alamogordo, but if you go to Ruidoso and ride an ATV, and I'm not talking about a steering wheel unit, it's not allowed there. So you kind of have to find out what's allowed wherever you're going to ride. And that's the important thing, and that's what we try and inform our customers when they're coming to buy something. What are you buying it for? Now, as far as the enforcement and those kinds of things, I know that there's Game and Fish Department, they have the Forest Service. So we have customers come in and said, hey, I got a ticket for, because they weren't doing something correctly. And so, to make that clear for what they're doing. So it's really a matter of education for the users as far as what they need. And people from out of state, when they come from an out of state, somewhere that maybe doesn't have the same type of restrictions or understanding, when they come here, I mean, I don't know how they would know. If I lived in El Paso and I came to ride in the Lincoln National Forest and I wanted to go trail riding or something other, I don't know how they would know. I mean, they would actually have to go find out what the requirement is and the stickers and those kind of things to purchase. They do need to do that. I just don't know how that gets enforced in order to make that happen. So hopefully education will, because I think most people want to do the right thing. I mean, they want to be up there and they want to ride and they want to be safe and they want to have fun. And so I think if the education side of that is really enforced, then I think most people will take and try and do the right things. Not everybody drives a vehicle, like you said, with insurance. I mean, they choose not to or they can't. But for the most part, most people are trying to do the right thing, and we try and inform them of what that is, and so that they can go and enjoy riding their off-road vehicle. So that's the whole thing, is to make it enjoyable or functional, for whatever their use and stuff is.
Okay.
Can I ask him a question about, you guys, Rocky Mountain? I was in there a couple weeks ago.
You're going to have to come back up here.
The razor that sits on the floor, the really huge razor, that vehicle being over 1,750 pounds and over 1,000 cc's is illegal to drive anywhere in the state of New Mexico other than private land, anywhere. Are they told that when they buy it?
So as far as I know, first of all, I think you said 80 inches is, I don't know anything stock that's over 80 inches.
Okay, 1,750 cc's.
So,
It's over 1,750 cc's.
Pounds, 1,000 cc's.
Huh?
1,000 cc's, 1,750 pounds.
And it's over 1,000 cc's and 1,750 pounds.
Okay, you're right.
So it's illegal.
And Mr. Nichols brought up about the OHV council. And so I think a few years ago, when all these units have changed, there were some modifications with that. Now, there's probably...
I've got the law.
Well, I'm just saying that at one point in time, it was 50 inches. And so a lot of that has changed over time. And so...
But when somebody buys that vehicle, are they informed that it's illegal to drive anywhere in the state of New Mexico on public land?
I'm not...
I can show you...
Public land, you're right.
But
Yeah,
really,
on private land, they can do whatever they
they
want.
can ride on, on county roads.
No, they can't. Absolutely not. Anything over,
Their license and insurance, as far as
I can show you it in the law. And you own the business and you should know the law. I can show you
He's
in
just
the
selling a
law.
product, he's not a lawyer or a cop, he's just selling a product. Why does he need to know the law? He just needs to know the law of what he can
So he can
and
lie to
cannot
people.
sell. He's not lying to him.
Okay, I think we're done, so I'm gonna adjourn this
Just one-
meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Just one man has been.
Oh, I'm
holding his hand
sorry.
up.
I thought we were done.
We have all the laws in the world against drunk driving, folks, and we still have it happen every day. Morality cannot be legislated. Thank you.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
I had a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.